Hey y'all. So it's Kiki. It has been a really long time since I've done one of these. Since I sat in front of a camera and I just talked, right? Like I vlogged, I told my story, I put it all together and I made it make sense. So y'all bear with me because I've had a desire to come back to this for a really long time, and I think now is the time. So with that being said, life has changed. Life looks totally different. If you followed this page back when it was Majestic Mom, hey, welcome back. I still have 4 children. I haven't had any more. It stopped at that point. But yeah, life has changed. I'll do an update video later on that. But today, I am here to talk about changes. Moving. I just did a really big move from Texas to North Carolina. And I have lots of feelings, lots of emotions, lots of changes. Things that are happening around me. And if you have been through some changes in your life and you want to stick around and hear my story, stick around. And so this is me practicing yoga off the mat, okay? So when we think about these vlogs as they come together and what it is that I want to do with them, it is yoga off the mat, okay? It is how I live life. When I get it right, when I get it wrong, or when there are challenges along the way. How do we continue to move forward? So, take a breath. I have my grounding stone in my hand right now. Y'all, let me start with this. I have been in in North Carolina. So I was living in Fort Worth, Texas, y'all, and I have moved to North Carolina. I am in the Raleigh-Durham area on the cusp of that. I'm in one of those in between Raleigh and Durham. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. And I lived here before. Okay, if you did not know, I lived in North Carolina before. This is me coming back. All right, I've lived in Raleigh, I've lived in Durham, I've lived in Greensboro, and so I've had lots of experiences in all of those spaces. So now I'm back, and my wife and I, we are settled in our space, we are living together, and my children are still in Texas right now. I miss them, y'all. I miss my babies. I miss my kids. I can't wait for them to be here, right? So, but they're with their dad. They're enjoying their summer with their dad. They're having a really good time. They're happy. They're healthy. They're safe. So, you know, those are my feelings that I have to work through. You know, I mean, we've talked, but still, I want to put my hands on them. So again, new experience. But I still haven't got my shit, right? Like I am here, and so I hire movers, and I've moved from North Carolina to Texas before, but when we did that, you know, we put everything in a U-Haul, moved there. We had control of the other things. But this time, I was like, it's a totally different situation. I am going to pay someone to move my things there, right? Do your due diligence. Y'all, do your due diligence because I have been here for 3 weeks at this point. I have been in North Carolina for 3 weeks and I still haven't gotten my things. So today is the 28th. Today was the last day, according to them, contractually, that they had to deliver my things. And today is the day. And I have not heard anything from them. I have not, like no communication other than me calling and complaining and, you know, getting emails back saying, you know, it was shipped out this weekend, you'll have it by the 28th. Well, today the 28th, and I don't have anything. So I'm having, when people ask me how am I settling in, I honestly do not feel settled. It's hard for me to settle because I don't have my things. The beautiful thing is that, you know, I do have a home. I have a roof over my head. I have the things that I brought with me in my car because, again, it has been one situation after another when it comes to my moving situation. I've had issues with this moving company since the very beginning, since the day that they walked in my home. And I, you know, in the midst of all of that chaos, had a moment where the man asked me very rude and ugly if I wanted to just take my things and they go on about their business, if, you know, they wasn't going to move it. And I should have said yes. You know, hindsight being 2020, I should have said yes, because those were just things that are not worth this, my trouble to be treated this way or to spend my hard-earned money for bad customer service, right? However, here we are, and so there's been lots of opportunities for me to practice breathing, right? Practice not allowing this to kind of hold me slavery and bondage, but still being able to find freedom in the breath, right? And just being able to explore the space as it is and being open to something different. That all of that sounds real good, right? But I'm not there yet. I'm still working on those things, and so that has required me to feel how I feel, right? The other part of being back in North Carolina is remembering why I left in the first place. Without going into all of the details, because there are plenty, but remembering that word trauma, right? We talk a lot about trauma. We talk a lot about childhood trauma or past traumas and how they affect us as adults. And for those who don't believe that what happens to you in your childhood can affect who you are as an adult, I don't even want to address you because it doesn't even make sense to me. But yes, and so for some people, we have adverse reactions. There are things that what that looks like. So even in the midst of all of my success and all of the things that I've been able to accomplish, in the underlying of it, some of that has been pushed through my trauma, right? Me feeling like I have to show up as a perfectionist in order to just be able to have the normal necessities of life, right? Me feeling like I am not enough when I walk in a room full of people who are also struggling to get their shit together in the back end. So anyway, I say all of that to say, as I've been back in North Carolina, I am reminded of why I left and what it looked like before I left for Texas. And so having those feelings, those thoughts, those memories come back even as I'm just driving down the street, right? As I am, taking it all in. Again, moments where I've simply really had to breathe, right? Really had to breathe. And I've noticed that I've had more panic attacks since I've been here. I have not wanted to go out in public the way that I thought that I was going to want to go out. I had a lot of hopes of wanting to see people and being excited about, meeting and greeting and getting up with people. And I haven't been ready to leave my house. I haven't been ready to have those experiences or to go places and be out as much. I've really wanted to, one, help my body figure out what the hell it's doing, because a sister been tired. I have been incredibly tired. This move has used a lot of my energy in a lot of different capacities. It's brought a fear in so many ways, right? It's the fear of the change. It is the fear of the unknown. It is the fear of continuing to be in new spaces. So many changes that are happening at once. So many things that I felt like I had control of over, and in some capacities I don't. And in some capacities I do, in trying to make it all make sense. And so as I sit here, even now, as I am using my grounding stone to tell my story and my experience, I am reminding myself to breathe through it all. To breathe through it all. To recognize that this is a journey, that this is a part of my story, and that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at right now. And so I have to be still so that it all comes together, and the parts that does not make sense to me right now, knowing that they will. They will. And so trying to be mindful of my reactions to it all. So, let me tell you what I have been doing to help myself settle and ground and center as I navigate overwhelm, as I navigate stress, as I navigate changes, as I navigate this new chapter and season of my life, right? Because at the end of the day, I prayed and manifested for something different. I went on a solo trip, okay? I went on a solo trip this time last year where I was trying to figure out life. I knew that I was uncomfortable in the space I was in. I had just moved last year. I had went from an apartment to a house, like in so many standards, it looked like I was on my way up, right? But I was unhappy. Again, I was feeling really stressed. I was feeling very overwhelmed. I was feeling very burned out. And I was like, yeah, like my bills are being paid. I'm able to go on the trips. I'm able to do all of these things, but this don't feel good to me. Like, so much of this doesn't feel good. And knowing that I could change my mind at any given time, but change it to what? What is it that I was yearning to do? So I went on a solo trip. I went on a trip by myself in the cabin in the middle of woods. If you want to know more about that experience, you have to look at the video for that. So anyway, when I was there, stuff started to come together, and fast forward another year later, and here I am, right? Somewhere different, doing something completely different. Even in my career has completely changed. I am practicing as a yoga practitioner full-time, whereas I was a director for a program director for a nonprofit. And I am using my skills and my talents, but my passion and my love in such a different and beautiful way, right? And so here I am doing this. And so I know that I'm exactly where I need to be, but I have to work through all of these feelings and emotions because I haven't been feeling good. Like, my body has been incredibly tired. I've been so exhausted, sleepy, like headaches. My migraines have started to come back. I've experienced swelling in the lower extremities of my legs. So, again, panic attacks. Like, there have been a host of things that have started to happen. These are things that I've experienced in the past, which is why I started yoga and haven't experienced these things in a while. So what I've started to do to get myself back together and back on track is to create a routine in this space, regardless of all the things that are happening outside of me. These are the things that I have the current capacity to do, right? And for each of us, it looks different. But these are the things that feel good to me. So I'm just going to list them out here, but I have started to walk. I have made time for walking. at my, I like to walk outside. I like to walk in the evening. I like to walk in the daytime when it's hot outside. I don't care. It feels good to go outside and to walk and to breathe, and to let all of that energy just move through me. I'm not walking with the intention of losing weight. I'm not walking with the intention of sweating. I am walking because I need to move, right? That is the goal, is I just simply need to move. And once I move, I have met my goal. I'm proud of myself. The other piece is that I have created my meditation space within my home. This is my space. This is where I sit, where I collect my thoughts, where I pray, where I journal, where I am able to just breathe at the end of a long day. For some people that may look different, but that is mine. And so one of the things that I do is I journal. So this is my 5-minute journal. Can you see that? I don't know where I got this. I think I got it from the paper source in Texas, but I'm sure they have it online. But it's my 5-minute journal, and I use it. I do use it. I use it, right? Like, and so what that looks like is this. It's my weekly affirmations, what I'm grateful for, what would make today great, my affirmation that I write for myself. And if I'm feeling good, I come back at the evening and find 3 things that I was grateful for that happened in the day, and 3 things that made the day great. If I don't feel like following a journal or plan or anything like that, then I just journal whatever the feeling and the thoughts are, whether it's a happy thought, a sad thought, a negative thought, a positive, whatever that looks like. I get the shit out of my head, I put it on the paper, I close it, and I walk away from it. Another thing for me is being able to read. So I've been doing a lot of reading in my space. I have all of my books, and so one of the books that I really enjoy and I have read is After the Rain. And just regardless of what is happening around me, like, or what I've been born into, or what the past held, knowing that the future can look different, right? I get to rewrite and tell that story a little bit differently. So I also pull my tarot here. I also sit and ground myself with my crystals in this space. I study my yoga sutras. I study anything that is going to expand my knowledge in a good and positive way in this space. I also do my yoga and I practice my yoga in this space. And I work with my clients in this space. So, but right now it has been about me reconnecting to something that I did when I was in Texas on a regular and consistent basis. So for me, every day I am in this space. Sometimes it's in the morning and sometimes it's in the evening. I am not so rigid that I'm married to the time, right? Like, as long as I make it here, I'm good. Sometimes it just looks different. But I know that when it gets a lot, that this space is always available to me, and so I come back to it. And so that is how I continue to create routine in my life so that I can continue to ground and feel good. I've also been moving with my wife outside on our patio. That seems to be a space that we really connect, and it feels neutral for the both of us. We get outside of the house and looking at all the things that we have to do in this space, and we just breathe for a moment. And so we've been doing movement, we've been doing yoga, we've been talking, we've been laughing, we've been breathing out there on our patio, and that feels good for the both of us. So that is my routine. that is what the practice that I have been doing to help myself settle and ground. And over time, I will continue to add to that. Sometimes I sit with my song bowl and I use that, or I breathe through and I meditate in that way. Sometimes I meditate using a candle. It just kind of depends on the day, the time, the hour, and what it is that I need. But I definitely pull my tarot card every day. I meditate on the card. I pull one for my partner. And honestly, when I get off here, I want to pull one for myself and use that to ground and meditate on for the rest of the day. So that is my routine. That is how I ground and center. If you want me to go into more with that, I will. So just let me know. One last thing. The reason why I do these practices are so important. I like myself, right? I love myself, and being kind and gentle to myself as I am in transition is important. No one can love me better than I can love myself. And if I need to ground and center by reading and journaling, and those things give me peace and provide a level of understanding that only I have, then I deserve those moments. If I have to go out and give in a way that uses up my energy, I have to replenish that. I don't want to be a person that's out here mean and grumpy and angry and just giving off negative and bad vibes everywhere I go, because I don't even recognize myself, right? I don't even know that this is how I'm showing up. That is just not the person that I am or who I strive to be. And I know that when I feel good, the people around me feel good as well. And that is just how I choose to, move about. When I was growing up, my grandmother was dedicated to studying the Word of God. She journaled all the time. She read her Bible, and that was a form of meditation for her. She was religious in her routine. It was something she did before she went to bed, and I always seen her pray before she went to bed. That was her routine. And so, but I also saw her as this loving and kind woman, and she had things that were going on. She had things that were happening in her life, right? Like life was still happening, but she didn't let that dictate how she showed up in the world and how she showed up around people, right? And so I wanted to take it a step further, and that this is my life and this is my practice. And so for me, creating a routine allows me to show up as my true and authentic self. I am not covered in low vibrations because I'm not taking care of myself. I'm able to vibrate in a way that opens up portals of opportunities. It opens up doors, not only for myself, but leaves a legacy for my children, and leaves an experience that we get to have here on earth. I want to feel good here on earth. I want to feel good today. I don't want to have to wait into another life or another time or later when I retire to have good experiences. Like that, I don't understand that. And so having a routine where I am moving my body, where I am meditating, and where I'm gaining knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, I deserve that. We deserve that, because it's through those moments of mental and physical silence that really great discoveries can happen, opportunities that we create for ourselves. That's why I went on a solo trip, so that I can gather my thoughts, so that I can clear away from the noise and make it make sense for myself and my life. What do I want? What do I need? And how am I going to get it? And so routine, movement, meditation, all of those things are really, really vital. And me discovering life here in North Carolina. What is my purpose? Why am I here? Why am I here? Because I know God didn't spend all of that good time making me for me to just be average, or for me to just get up, go to work, go to sleep, go to a cookout every now and again, or not, right? To struggle to pay bills, to have stress, to have experiences that don't feel good. I wasn't meant for that. So that's why we create spaces for ourselves where we feel good. All right, so I know I said a lot. If you're wondering about the stone I've been holding, it is Smokey Quartz. It is a really good grounding and anchoring stone. Helps to, kind of balance the emotions, calm the mind, really helped me to calm down, to speak to a camera and tell my story with confidence and clarity and clear. Helps with meditation and those type of things. I like to carry a smaller form anytime that I leave my home and I go in people. It just helps me to kind of stay level-headed because bitch got anger problems, I'm just saying. But anyway, I'm going to leave you with this because I believe you are here for a reason. Believe in something big. Your life is worth a noble motive. Walter Anderson. Believe.